Hello again. We're going to start our speaking schedule, and we have one of our vendors is going to be inserted here. Ruth Miles from the state of Oregon is going to come up and speak to you for 5 or 6 minutes. Before you start, I have to say, every time I walked up here, I can't resist talking about the accessory on the stage. That is a real live chamber pot. But you don't have to use that because the restrooms are outside and to the right. Okay, Ruth, you're on.
Oh my gosh, that was the weirdest introduction ever. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, gosh, guys, I am Ruth Miles. I am the Small Business Advocate for Oregon Secretary of State. And really what that means is I'm your small business advocate. And in fact, Jorge, wave your hand. Jorge Aviles from my office is also here. What we do in our office is maybe not what you've come to think of the Secretary of State as doing. You know, you all know that the Secretary of State runs elections. You might even know that the Secretary of State in Oregon has responsibility for audits. And of course, we're the first stop for every single business in the state because you register your business and your business name with the Secretary of State before you start doing business, and you keep your registry active while you're doing business, right? Nodding heads, yeah. Thank you so much for indulging me in that. But our office is a little bit different than everything else you might have come to know the Secretary of State for. We work with businesses and nonprofits with 100 employees or less, or no employees at all, that have a problem or a challenge with state or local government that they can't solve themselves. So if you're stuck in a problem, maybe you sent your withholding check in to the employment department and the revenue department has received it and maybe not transferred all of that money to your account at employment. Sometimes this happens, and if you get stuck in that kind of problem, pick up the phone and call us, send an email, get on our webpage, and click our little Get Help button and fill out the form. We just need to know who you are, how to get in touch with you, and what your challenge is so that we can, that's kind of our ticket into a state agency or into a unit of local government. And what we're going to do is find out what their side of the story is and pin it up to the facts that you've reported to us. The thing that's really important about our office that I think is so great, and man, I wish that somebody had been in this kind of office when I was in business myself. The idea is not just to solve your problems on this incremental basis. That's great for you, but what does it do for everybody else, right? So what we're trying to do is take the actual solution to your problem, and if somebody else we know is going to experience the same problem time after time after time, then we're going to make some recommendations on how to prevent that from happening again. So the idea is to take your real, actual, live problems and use them as a catalyst to change policy in the state of Oregon so that we make Oregon better for business on this incremental basis. Like, how does that sound? Does that sound good? I think it sounds awesome. And it's a much better, in my view, idea than folks who have never run a business trying to figure out how to solve the problems they think you have. This is a much more realistic way to get at making things better for you. So what we do is this kind of sort of ombudsman work. So if anybody knows that word, we'll advocate for you with state and local government. And in addition to that, those of you that don't have a business yet, or you're still in proof of concept and you're kind of thinking, maybe I got an idea, I might be able to make it work and make it profitable. Well, we can help you with sort of the baby steps of state compliance, federal compliance, local compliance. So making sure that you have an entity registered, that you understand before you choose an entity kind of what's involved, what are the advantages and drawbacks to each of those things. And we tailor that conversation to where you're at and what your specific situation is. And then we're going to make sure that you're connected to folks like Merit or the small business development centers, or if you're looking for capital, there's lots of other options, including Kiva Zip or Merit or other lenders that might be a good fit for your business and your situation. In fact, since I have just a couple of minutes, I wanted to tell you about something called a community public offering. And this is a new way for small businesses in Oregon with less than 50 employees to raise money. So if you're a for-profit business with less than 50 employees and you need big capital, this is a way you can raise up to $250,000, and you can offer securities for sale to Oregon residents, anybody who lives in Oregon, and they don't have to be accredited investors. So if you've ever heard of an IPO, this is kind of like a community-sized IPO. So your community members can invest in you. They don't have to use a platform like Kiva. You can use a local platform like Hatch Innovation or Hatch Oregon. So if you have questions about raising money that way, please let me know. I know some folks that can tell you more about that, and I can tell you more details about that. And certainly, if you ever have any questions or concerns about Secretary of State or any other state agency or unit of local government, please, please, please give us a call, email, or visit our webpage. We're here. We got your back. Thanks, guys.
Now we'll hear from Sean Irvine, who is the Economic Development Director at the City of Independence, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about ordinances and rules and regulations. And if you ask him nicely, he'll probably also tell you something about what's happening on the property down at the river at the bottom of C Street.
That was a really exciting setup right there. Ordinances and laws, and yeah, this is true. Can you all hear me okay? Do I need to raise this at all? Okay. So I'm the Economic Development Director for the city. Basically, that means my job is to, I like to say, my job is to help existing business grow, bring new business to town, and help new businesses start up. Ultimately, that really means I act as a facilitator. So I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of places. So what ends up happening is folks who are starting businesses, they have existing businesses in town, but they need, have a problem, they want to grow, they want to do something. They call me and they say, here's what I'm trying to do. What do I need? Who can I talk to? What can I do? And I can help connect them with resources. The merit program, Forrest spoke earlier. That's really, he's one of my go-to guys. When somebody calls me and says, hey, I really need some help with, running my business better. I need to understand management better. I need to do more with marketing, or I just need a better business plan. I connected with Forrest, the Small Business Development Center, the Chemeketa runs over in Salem. There's a lot of great programs out there and a lot of great opportunities. So I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I just get you in touch with the people who really know what they're doing. That can also relate to finding space. I know a lot of you guys are home-based businesses, but home-based businesses a lot of times will become bricks and mortar businesses out in commercial spaces. So I maintain connections with the property owners. I know a lot of the tenants there. We just try to keep up to speed on what spaces are available, who's looking for what, that kind of thing, so that when somebody calls me up and says, hey, I need 1,000 square feet for my new retail store, I can say, go talk to this person. Here's the rent they're asking for. Here's the things that they need. Go ahead and talk to them, see if it works out. So again, kind of just trying to be that facilitator, get people kind of shuffled into whatever slot they need to be at. I also can kind of play an advocate role within City Hall. A lot of times, again, this may or may not be applicable for home-based businesses, but a lot of times you may need a building permit, or you may need a land use permit, or different processes that are going on within City Hall. And a lot of times that can kind of feel like, well, I did my application and I gave it to the person at the front desk, and then it's this black hole and I don't know what's going on. So I can kind of play that advocate role of just going and knocking on the person's door and saying, hey, did you get this application? Is everything okay with it? Is it moving along? When do you think it's going to be ready? And so I can kind of help bird dog some of those issues, just to kind of provide a little more certainty for the folks who are making these applications. Marilyn did mention ordinances and permits and whatnot, so I guess I should probably talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. Really the most applicable thing that I tend to deal with is home occupation, and that's literally a home-based business that operates here in town. For a lot of cities, there's actually a permit process that you go through to have your home-based business. Here in Independence, it's actually a permitted use as long as you fall within certain criteria. And the way, I won't go into all the details, but the way I like to describe it is, it's a residence. It should look like a residence. You shouldn't have a giant billboard out in front advertising your business. You shouldn't be having, 30 people, coming and going from your house every day, making deliveries, picking things up, buying and selling things. It should look like a house. And then, essentially whatever goes on inside, that's up to you as far as your business goes. It is possible to do home occupations and not meet one of those criteria, but that does require a conditional use approval from the Planning Commission. So again, that's where I would come in. More than likely, it would be like a neighbor complaint or something along those lines that would start the process. And we'd say, okay, how can we make this fit within the criteria, either by changing your operations in some way so that it is in compliance, so we just don't have to worry about it, or if necessary, going to the Planning Commission and making things good. I think for most of you here, it's really not an issue one way or the other, but I just kind of want to make sure everybody's aware of that. The other thing we're starting to work on is we're looking at the possibility of creating a business registry. Independence does not have a business license. You don't need to be licensed to do business in Independence unless you're a very specific couple of kinds of businesses that typically deal in potentially stolen goods and pawn shops, secondhand shops, things like that. That's kind of a problem for us because it's hard for us to know how many people are opening, how many people are closing. For the police and the fire department, they really like to have emergency contact information. So if there's a report of a fire in a building, but it looks fine from the outside, we want to be able to call the owner and say, hey, can we go in and take a look? Or do maybe they collect the information. They have a knock box that you just type in a code that's got a key to the door, so that the cops or the fire department can have that information and be able to respond a little more promptly to potential emergencies. So that's something we're starting to explore. I came to the Independence Downtown Association last week and talked about it a little bit, got some feedback. It's a really conceptual thing right now. The intent is not to create a business license where if you don't get this license, you don't get to operate in town. Like I said, it's really more intended to be a registry, so we know who's doing what, and especially for the emergency side of things, who do we need to contact if there's an emergency after hours? Are there hazardous materials on site that if there's a fire, it's going to cause an even greater problem? If so, where are they stored? Just some of those kind of issues. So if you got thoughts or questions on that, I'd be interested in feedback. Like I say, we're still developing this process right now. It's not even guaranteed it's going to happen, but we want it to be something that benefits the area businesses. So we do want that feedback. Aside from that, I guess, are you interested in what's going on in this property behind here? So the city acquired that site about a year ago and has been doing basically the due diligence, environmental, floodplain work to make sure that it's buildable and ready to develop. We also did regrade the site so that terrace that you see out there is above the 100-year flood elevation and is essentially shovel ready. We did a request for qualifications for developers, essentially put out a call saying, hey, here's generally what we want to see here. Tell us your vision for the site. Tell us your resume as a developer, all the other projects you've done, why we should work with you as a developer. We use that to select a preferred developer. Now we're negotiating a development agreement with that developer. The tentative plan that he's looking at right now would be to bring a hotel. Has been kind of it's really been the whole point of the city getting involved in this project is we really believe we know there's a strong demand for lodging in Independence and in Polk County, but the being sort of off the beaten track, we're perceived as more of a risk. And so it really is, we're not going to have somebody just kind of walk in the door and build a hotel without the city getting involved in some of this stuff. So that's what we did. We said, hey, we've acquired the site, it's ready for development, but we want to talk to developers who are willing and able to bring a hotel. Here's this feasibility study we did that shows it's possible, let's talk. So this guy's looking to bring in a 75 to 80 room hotel, some other commercial along C Street, and kind of a mix of apartments and townhomes on the rest of the site. Realistically, this is a fairly long process. So if all goes well, we would have a development agreement signed midsummer, late summer, and then we would really start the design process, or the permitting process. And again, if everything goes well, kind of spring of next year, you'd really see work starting on that site. That's kind of the nutshell version of it. Again, I'd be more than happy to chat with people individually or however about what's going on. And again, just kind of wrap up my little piece here. My job is to be the smiling, helpful face of the city with regard to business and making things happen. So if you got questions, if you got issues, if you got problems that need dealing with, give me a call, see what I can do. Thank you.
You can leave it up. That's okay. We got a tall one coming up.
The next person who's going to speak to us is Zach Steele, who is a farmer's insurance agent, but I know a secret about Zach, and that makes him quite famous. Zach is a Shriner, and he's one of the drivers of the little red cars in the parade. So you're on, Zach.
I don't like staying stationary anyway. So Marilyn asked me to give a little bio for her book pamphlet, and I failed to get it to her. So real quick, I opened my farmer's insurance agency 2.5 years ago. I graduated from Eastern Oregon University in 2012 and was working for the National Federation of Independent Business. It's funny seeing Ruth here. We were very instrumental in getting her position created with the Secretary of State, and so it was created with businesses in mind, so please don't hesitate to use them. We had some guidelines as NFIB put in to make it was pro-business, not pro-government. So please, reach out to them, use them if you need them. That's my plug for you, Ruth, so there you go. So after working for NFIB for 2 years, I got tired of doing that and helping other businesses. I wanted to become my own. So I opened my farmer's insurance agency 2.5 years ago with 0 clients and really took an interest in commercial insurance. Marilyn asked me to speak to home-based businesses because there's a lot of you here. National Bureau of Labor says 3 out of every 10 homeowners operates a home-based business. So obviously, based on the statistics Marilyn gave us earlier, that holds true for here in Monmouth and Independence. Of those, so that leads to about, 66% of the 21 million people in the United States who work from home are self-employed. And of those, less than 40% have business insurance. The question I got asked earlier is, when should I have business insurance as a home-based business? My answer to you is, are you making even $1? You need to have business insurance. You don't need to be a millionaire to be sued like one. 11% of all lawsuits in the state of Oregon that rise out of just auto accidents go for more than $1 million. So if that doesn't tell you that as a business owner you should have some form of business insurance, I don't know what else does. The biggest thing we see at Farmers Insurance are vehicles with business names plastered all over them, insured on your personal auto policy. That is a huge, huge problem in this state. Technically, your insurance company could deny your claim because you have your business name on your vehicle. You're going to pay more money to get your commercial insurance policy, but in the long run, it's a better policy with better liability limits. It's going to protect you from lawsuits. That's the whole purpose of insurance. We all got into business to make money, right? Why do we want to give our money to somebody else and opening ourselves up to lawsuits? So a prime example is the guy that shares the office next to me insured a landscaper. He'd been in business 2 weeks and he had his first claim. He was mowing a lawn, threw a rock up from underneath his lawnmower in a lady's yard, hit the little old lady walking her dog down the street. She's now blind in her right eye, and it cost him $2 million out of his insurance policy. He was in business a whopping 2 weeks. Thankfully, he had an agent that is in the office next to me that wouldn't let him take no for an answer and made him buy a $4 million liability insurance policy. That guy's still in business today. It was a complete accident, but had he not had his insurance, he would not be in business today, and he'd be paying that lady for the rest of his life. So that's why we get business insurance. In Oregon, there's really 2 ways to get business insurance on your small business. One, most people think your homeowner's insurance covers you right off the bat. But most standard homeowners policies in the state of Oregon only cover your damages to your home and your business inventory or property at $2,500 and no liability. So if you're a photographer, a videographer, and somebody sues you for the content you put out there, or a prime example, a photographer in our district got sued over using a picture that he had the rights to, per the contract he signed to the photographer, but using it as advertising. Lady sued. Thankfully, he didn't win anything, but he was able to use our attorneys to defend it. You don't think about the frivolous lawsuits that still take time and money out of your business that insurance helps you defend. So even photographers that you think, well, I'm not ever anywhere where you still have equipment, you're still opening yourself up to lawsuits. Anytime you're entering somebody else's home, you don't have any liability insurance through your homeowner's insurance. You can endorse on small amounts, but it's really not worth it. Get the liability insurance, because then instead of when you're going to the farmer's market and they're asking you for $1 million event insurance policy, instead of having to scramble to go find one, instead you just hand them your commercial insurance policy. Here's my $1 million. It covers you wherever you're at. The other way to get insured in the state of Oregon, especially for smaller and home-based business, is what we call a business owner's policy. This is what I sell the most of in my agency. I specialize in business insurance. It has so many coverages in there. A lot of them you don't need, but you're not paying extra for them. They're built in. You don't think of things like brick and mortar businesses down here that find out after a fire that they're responsible for the city's trees in front of their business. Well, that can get very expensive. Well, we've got coverages built into these that replace the city's trees for them. That business owner can focus on reopening their business, not on paying the city for landscaping. So that's what I recommend is any business who's making even $1, talk to your agent, whether it be me or your local insurance agent. Find out how you can get business insurance. Don't let yourself be the landscaper without insurance who a rock hits a lady that's going to cost him his business. Instead, be the same guy that had insurance was able to continue running his business. So if you have any specific questions, there's a lot of different kinds of businesses in here. Please don't hesitate to ask me. But the biggest takeaways I can give you is if your business name's on your vehicle, go spend the extra money, get a commercial insurance policy. If you're making money, get a general liability policy at the very least. Protect yourself. Or is there any questions from anybody before I turn this down and move on to something more exciting than insurance? All right, thank you.
Our next speaker is David Valencia, and he's involved in the foster child program and a lot of other things that go well beyond just that particular program, and he's going to tell us about it. Thank you.
I'm going to do the same here, if I can figure it out. So like Marilyn said, my name's David Valencia. Quick background, I was a Polk County employee for about 16 years, and I worked in this business where we work with youth who are on parole and probation with the Oregon Youth Authority, and we're considered a residential treatment program, but we utilize Proctor homes, and Proctor homes are essentially foster homes with some specialized training. So about 2 years ago, I broke away from the county and opened up a business doing this, basically privatized what we were doing. And so we have 6 full-time employees, 8 Proctor homes located here in Polk County. So basically what we do, we work with kids from across the state of Oregon. So they come to our program. We place them in our Proctor homes. They go to public high school. We work on individual skills with those kids. And the goal is for them to go back home, ultimately, after 6 to 9 to 12 months they're in our program. So again, these are a lot of kids that just lack basic skills, haven't been going to school, didn't have the parental guidance that they needed, and that's what we're trying to provide is a strong, structured family environment where they can learn, grow, and practice skills. My goal personally is to keep them away from these brick-building residential programs where, there's 30 kids kind of running around and not a lot's happening in terms of personal growth for these guys. So we're a small program. We have about 12 to 15 kids in our program. We work individually with them. We have skills trainers. We have program counselor that works with the bio family, with the Proctor family, as well as with the youth individually. We have alcohol and drug counselors that work with the youth. So we're trying to hit them kind of in all areas that their treatment needs to be focused on. So like I say, we've been doing this a long time. I live here in Polk County, and all of our homes are here in Polk County. We have a few here in Independence, a couple in Monmouth, Dallas, and West Salem, actually. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do. I'm not sure if I want to expand more on that, or Marilyn, if I need to. Okay, so yeah, again, a little different than DHS foster care, where these kids are removed due to their own problems and behaviors, as opposed to their parents' problems and behaviors. So these are young people that have been in trouble. They've been on probation, so again, they come to our program in lieu of going to a facility. You guys have heard of places like Hillcrest and McLaren across the state. Those are adult-like facilities that these kids could end up going to, and our program is to try to alleviate that, to not have them go to those facilities, to keep them in the communities and, again, practice those skills. As a taxpayer, it's much more cost-effective to keep them in the communities than to have them in facilities. And they're, you know what, they're pretty good kids, really. They just made some poor choices, and they really lack that parental guidance that they need to be successful. So we've had some great success stories. I have, out of our 12 kids, I have 4 graduating high school this year. For them, that's a huge feat. These guys rarely went to school prior to coming to programs like ours. We had guys that played sports at the high school, kids wrestling, doing track, playing baseball. Again, those are great things. If they're able to keep their grades up, go to school, maintain that type of structure within the homes and the communities. So, yeah, other than that, my need here is kind of how I got involved with Marilyn and Rod here is trying to advertise and promote and recruit foster homes. So we've been trying to look at different ways to do that. That's always a huge need that we have, and it takes a special family to take that on. So I'd be willing to answer any questions regarding that or give out information, but that's kind of what led me here today. I didn't bring any printed material with me. We have a website. I can give that out. It's polkyouthservices.com. That's the name of our business. Training, we provide all the training necessary to become a Proctor home. There's a certain mandated amount of hours that's needed. It's 26 hours of pre-service training, background checks, and fingerprinting and things like that. But we provide all the training that's necessary. And we work individually with our homes. Like I say, we're a small program, so a case manager, counselor, skills trainer is assigned to each home. We provide lots of vacation days because that's obviously needed. So there's 38 days of paid vacation that's involved. Foster parenting is a tax-free stipend, so it is tax-free income as well. So that can be a nice thing for us. Any questions? I appreciate your time. Thank you. Like I say, I'll be around. I can get some printed material to Marilyn if that's needed.
Well, we have the wonderful problem of being a little bit ahead of schedule. So, Rod, do I have a walk-around mic? Just this one. Okay. Okay. Let's do that. I'd like to hear from all of our vendors who haven't been up to speak yet. Zach, you can come back if you want to, but I think you did a great job. Let's have each of the vendors come up and do a little commercial for themselves. And we'll start right over here.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sharina Wally. I live here in Independence. My goal is to become the Monmouth Independence Avon Lady. Please stop by my booth and fill out a slip to try to win that beautiful basket over there. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Elaine Gardner, and I'm kind of a dual business operator. I've got direct sales with Party Light, which is beautiful home decor and candles that we offer for your family. We are a party-based business, so come into your home, I do all the work, I show you all of our beautiful decor, and you get free product when you do that, so that's very exciting. My home-based business is my eyelash extension business. I am Flutter and Arch, and I do eyelash extensions. This is really, really short. If you like the look of long, full, thick lashes, but you lack the skill or eyesight to be able to achieve your desired result, eyelash extensions are the answer for you. They're great for weddings or any time when you might be crying and you don't want your mascara to run. Thank you.
So you already know, I'm Zach Steele with Farmers Insurance. If you're in need of a deal, call Zach Steele. I've got my cards over there. But real quick, one thing I wanted to pitch. I'm involved with LaTip of Dallas, Monmouth, and Independence in Dallas. We meet on Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. If you're not familiar with LaTip, ask me. It's a business networking group. Our purpose is to put dollars in your pocket. And basically you inherit, the 19 of us are already there, as your personal sales team. Right now we're in need of graphic design, website design, and a photographer. We need those three categories very bad in our business, in our networking group. Like I said, there's 19 of us now. We're looking to grow to 35 by the end of the year. So please, if you want to get other people selling your business for you and referring you out, please don't hesitate to come visit us. We meet 7 a.m. at the Dallas Aquatic Center. It's free to come visit, and we'll provide you a free breakfast. So again, I'm Zach Steele with Farmers Insurance. If you're in need of a deal, call Zach Steele.
Hi, I am Ben Krieger. I have a small business. I do publishing, comic book publishing specifically, graphic design, and offer marketing solutions. My company is Warrior Innkeeper Creative, and it's a veteran-owned business. People tell me I should try and promote that part of it. Sorry for the anxiety. Lately, I've been developing logos for startups and other small businesses, and that has been actually a lot of fun. In the past, I created MyNet Man and ran the campaign for MyNet Harbor. And recently, we just had a really successful Kickstarter where we were able to raise enough money to create our next comic book. And I'll let you come to my table and talk about that. Sorry. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter if you ever have any questions. All you need to do is do a search for Warrior Innkeeper, and you'll find me on social media. That's actually, I found it very useful in promoting my business and finding clients as well as other artists to work with. By the end of the summer, you can go to warriorinnkeeper.com. We're under construction right now, and we'll be unveiling our new plans and our new business model by September, and we're very excited about that. I'm rambling, so check out Warrior Innkeeper Creative. We're having a lot of fun with it. Thanks.
I've worked with Ben off and on for quite a while, and I know something about him too. I know why the business is called Warrior Innkeeper, because Ben's last name is Krieger, and it has two spellings. Is that correct, Ben? And one means, in German, means warrior, and one means innkeeper. So he put his variety spellings to work for him, and Ben Krieger now has Warrior Innkeeper Creative. And Josh, I think you ought to talk to him. I thought I heard something about creative design, and you said the LaTip in Dallas needs to have somebody that does that kind of thing. The next person is not as comfortable with a mic as I have tended to become over the years. This is Rusty Gilliland in the corner. Would you wave, Rusty? And he is working on publishing a book. It is called The Notorious Ones. an activity book for adults based on serial killers. And if you haven't gone over and read his poster board yet, I would go over and read it. It's fascinating. Okay, Justin Knoll is next. I actually spelled his name right.
Hi, my name is Justin Knoll. I run an independent film / video and photography group called Jan Films. And I'm based out of Dallas, Oregon. I'm 10 minutes out of Dallas and 20 minutes out of Independence, so pretty close to each. And in 2010, I started filmmaking, but on an experimental basis. And then 2012 was when I became more official with Jan Films. And I started off with doing short films, and then expanded to doing short films and features, and then eventually branched out to doing business services, and along with photo shoots. And over the years, I've done. Next month I'll be entering my 3rd year filming the 8th recognition ceremony at Walker Middle School. And I've had other experiences like filming a proclamation reading for Governor Brown, and a bunch of other ones. And currently I'm pursuing it on an experimental basis and getting my feet wet and getting an idea of what I want to do with it before I head to school, and get a better idea of what I need to study, and so that after I'm done with college, I can have a good idea of what I want to do. And currently, I do offer if you need like a commercial or event filmed or something photographed, I can do it. And I have a group of people that are friends, people I know that help out too. So if you need anything, there's info at my booth over there. Thank you.
I heard that between the two people sitting at the Umpqua Bank table, that one of them won the drawing and gets to come up and be the speaker.
This will be easy. I'm Murray McBride with Umpqua Bank. We're here to sell money. We'd like you to deposit it with us. Susan Paulus, who didn't want to talk, will be happy to lend it to you for commercial purposes. And I do home loans, so I will be happy to lend you money for your next home purchase or refinance. That's easy.
Now we have Sue Barker from the Farmers Market, and there are 2 farmers markets in Independence. One of them is behind Umpqua Bank in the parking lot every Saturday from 9 to 2, and the other one is at the top of Riverview Park from 9 to 2 on every Saturday, and that is Sue's baby.
Except that we are, like she said, by the fountain. The other part of it is we are not only a farmers market, but we're a small business incubator. In the 3 years, almost 4 years that we have been doing the market, we've had 4 people that have spin off and either gone to brick and mortar, a totally online business, or created another situation to continue their business. So one of the things that I'm taking away this time is everything that is available to these people when they want to get started. And now I have faces and names that I can pass this on to them. Thank you.
Next is Steve Milligan. And Steve and I share something in common. We both sit on our city councils for the respective cities of Monmouth and Independence.
I don't follow that. I just got Trump Steve Milligan, and my business that I'm here representing is Steve's Abalone Jewels. And I never thought, it was one of those businesses that it just kind of came out of nowhere. A friend of mine had passed away, and I wanted his rain barrels. His rain barrels had something in them. It wasn't water. And so I got included in the purchase of the barrels was the abalone shells, and there were about 100 of them. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this? So I kind of sat on them for a while, and I went on a trip down to Los Angeles, and through trying Airbnb for the first time, I stayed at a person's house who actually made jewelry. And we got chatting, and she doesn't make anything like what I do, but it triggered something. And so I came back and started playing around with the tools that I had in my garage and working on how to cut abalone and stay toxin free. So I wear a hazmat suit when I work with it. But it was one of those things that just opened a door that was pretty amazing. And I was just going to do it for just for fun. And I made several sets of earrings and went into where I normally have coffee on a Saturday morning, and I brought a few pairs to show the guys, like, hey, here's what I'm doing, because we're always bringing in stuff that each other is making just out of our garage for hobby. And I sold 3 pairs of earrings to the guys whose wives had never seen it before. I'm like, oh, this is great. I didn't even have to try and sell it. It just started selling itself. And I did a couple of little shows and started selling more. And so I've done a little investment in it. But it's one of those things where, for me, to other people who want to get into business, it's like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to start small. And you never know what it is. I mean, it's like my wife, when I made the first few pairs of earrings, she was like, I didn't know you could make jewelry. And I'm like, I didn't either. It's like, so sometimes explore the things that are out there because you never know what can happen.
Are you ready now? Or do you want me to keep going around? We have Happy Feet Daycare. No, not daycare. Foot Care here. And I don't know your names. Sharon is going to speak for that business.
I know, you said, oh, okay, you're going to talk. Okay, all right. I'm Sharon Christensen, and I'm a registered nurse. And I started my own business about a year and a half ago with doing people's toenails. I go to people's homes and I take a look at their feet. I treat any wounds or calluses, corns, anything like that. And I also work in some of the facilities in the area, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and found that to be a very good need out in the community for that. Let's see. I think that's about it. That's what I do. The reason I went into it is because I found out that I have fibromyalgia, and I was working as a nurse in the hospitals, and I couldn't do it anymore because of the pain that I was having. So this is a good way for me to be able to budget my time and allow myself time to do things when I can handle it. So that's what I do.
Earlier we had Representative Paul Evans here. Evan, do you want to come up and talk for just a couple minutes? This is his right-hand man and sidekick, Evan Source.
Hi, my name's Evan Source. We're basically here today and sponsored a table so that we could bring Ruth Miles and the Office of Small Business Advocacy here to help kind of talk to some of the local businesses and some at-home businesses who might have some questions. If you do have any questions or are facing some red tape, please contact our office. We'd be happy to connect you to Ruth or whatever agency you're having an issue with. We'd be happy to help facilitate a conversation and try to get past that. Our goal in our office is to make sure that, if possible, we can find a solution to the problem. We've been working really hard doing some outreach to local businesses to kind of talk about some of the needs in the community. We have a small business forum once a month, or at least try to have them as often as possible. It's been around once a month. And I'd be happy to invite everyone in the room to to attend. The representative's trying to develop a small business agenda. If he's lucky enough to come back for next session, he has some concepts that he's trying to perfect before going, and by perfecting it, sharing with local businesses to see if they make sense and if they work and if they'll actually help, because we've been trying to kind of connect with as many small businesses as possible to listen to some of the difficulties they've been having, especially out in rural Oregon, such as Monmouth Independence area. So if you have any questions, I have some business cards. I have my contact information as well as the representatives. Please feel free to connect with us, and we'd love to help. Thank you very much.
Evan, when is the next coffee with the representative? And in Independence, you're at Ovenburg? Okay, thank you. All right, Cindy Dale is with the Polk Community Development Corporation, and she's going to tell us about her business for a little bit.
Hello, my name is Cindy Dale, and I'm with Polk Community Development Corporation. We are based over in Dallas. We've been in business since 1989. We build residential homes, multifamily. We build for people who are in rehabilitation. We also help in building residential homes with roofing repairs, and we have some loan programs that are affordable loan programs. So we're somewhat in the business of rehabilitating people who've gone through substance abuse, mental issues, are disabled. So we like to think of ourselves as rehabilitating homes and people and our community. So if you are in need of any of that or have any questions, just come on over and give me a call. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from the gentleman from Genesis Marketing. And I've been fascinated by what's on the screen all afternoon. I really want to know what you do.
All right, so my name is Ryan Kinsella. I'm the president and owner of Genesis Marketing. Genesis Marketing is a full-service marketing agency in Independence, primarily focused on social media management and website design. Kind of born out of the need. Traditional media is great, print, radio and advertising, but oftentimes, with especially small home-based businesses, it's simply too expensive for you to actually market with. So we provide reasonably priced packages designed to get your name out there. When people Google whatever your business may be, nails or salons, marketing, your name is at the top of the list. Drive trafficking business to your door. And our social media profiling is all about creating relationships with your clients. Small business especially, brand loyalty and customer loyalty is extremely important. We get that by building relationships and kind of creating the rapport with your customers for you. And we take out the time that it takes to effectively manage social media. Anyone that's trying to do it now knows you're spending hours, and that's, if you're going to do it right, you have to. So we take that from you. From packages that start at $3.99 a month, and we meet with you once a month to give you the reports to show you demographics of who you're engaging with, so that you can more effectively market towards your audience. So stop by. We are offering right now a free website. No strings attached. If you guys need one, just come take a look at us. Genesis Marketing is all about earning your business. So give us a call.
And finally, we're going to hear from Rich Hoffman with two N's. And as soon as he's done speaking, we're going to take another short break and waiting for our last speaker to come in, who is Emily Menser, the editor of the Itemizer Observer, who will be talking to us about how to write a press release, an effective one. So, Rich Hoffman.
Better late than never, right? Jeez. Anyway, my name's Rich, obviously. I'm a retired fire captain and police officer in the state of California. I worked for Cal Fire for several years, promoted to lieutenant, and then worked for the military department, where I was both fire and security. So I wore a weapon, and we had a 10-gauge shotgun in our patrol unit protecting the military reservation, which makes me a pig in heat. Got it? So I always remind all my fellow peace officers I'm having nothing more fun than they are, because at least I'm getting laid. Anyway, I'm a twice patented inventor. I've got 3 devices and 2 processes that are patented. Texas A&M University teaches my firefighting method. It's the ability to take a pre-connect, which is a line that's pre-connected to the fire truck. I can dump it within 10 feet of the side of the engine and have it fully charged in less than 12 seconds with no kinks at all. So instead of praying for a helicopter or an airplane coming to wildland fires, we're getting burned over. We actually have the water on the engine. So it was pretty amazing. In 1999, I created the video, and I was going to buy 10 billion of these little VHS tapes and set them out for $2.45 a piece every fire department. And then along came high-speed internet in 2005. So in 2006, I published it, and the dean of students of Texas A&M University, where if you want to get a job as a fire chief in New York or Los Angeles or Seattle or Portland, you better make darn sure that diploma says Texas A&M, because these are the fire gods of the planet, and that has a lot of credibility. Anyway, he called me up when I was in the airport in Denver, flying back and forth to see my 2 little kids. I got 2 a little too younger. And he said, "Mr. Hoffman, are you the one that produced this video online?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You, sir, are the first firefighter in the last 125 years, representing millions of firefighters from all 5 continents of the globe, to do what we cannot believe can be done, let alone demonstrated in video." They said, "Can we please have your copyright to your video so that we can teach everybody walking through our doors through the level of fire chief?" And, he was asking me about how much I want to charge. And I said, "No, it's free, because it saves firefighter lives." And that's all I care about. And I've been fighting fire since I was 18. And anyway, I have a huge issue with CAL FIRE right now. And they're teaching a dumbed-down math equation to get the women and minorities to pass the math class, because they don't have enough faith in their instructors to teach it correctly. I can have you fully educated in fire hydraulics, which is determining the adequate pump pressure so that by the time the water slows down the hose, 600, 800,000 feet up the side of the mountain, that there's always enough water pressure every 100 feet. And it took me 7 hours to do an Excel spreadsheet formula with about 145 characters. That if one comma, one or parenthesis or whatever, one digit's out of place, it won't work. And it's a 7-variable calculator. And so I produced that last year. I'm going to turn it into a phone app. But what I'm here about today is I have another phone app. Well, it just finished up on Cal Fire. Yeah, see, they dumbed down the exam so it became easier to get the percentage of women and minorities to match the percentage at the U.S. Capitol. And they didn't care about firefighter safety. It's horrendous, guys. Okay, and now they blocked my email address. They don't want to communicate with me. And yeah, because I've got the truth verified by math, that they're all in it for the money, okay? Anyway, so I've got a little handout over here you guys can grab, take a look at. Okay, again, now, the reason why I'm here is because I'm very good at Excel. I have a phone app, okay, that's going to be published pretty soon. It's a budget calculator, okay, and the domain name budgetcalculator.com costs $26,000. Somebody grabbed it in 2001, 2002. Who's going to pay $26,000 for a domain name? Well, they do that, right? Because that's huge, leverage on the internet. So anyway, there weren't too many smartphones back in 2001, 2002 either. So I got, for $12, budgetcalculator.com. And it's a far better domain name. But yeah, and this guy's now $26,000 is obsolete. So what I've done, through my medical retirement, having a really tight budget, I had to create a budget that works. I've actually adopted it so that I can support a small business like yourself that maintains all your records. Seriously, at 4:55 p.m. on December 31st, your books are done, okay? You maintain it every day. You simply add it, put in the mileage on your car, whatever. You put in whatever expenses you have, income that comes in, there's previous loss for that. And it'll produce to the penny what you have per day the rest of the month of living, before and after your expenses. So it's very sophisticated, but it's very user-friendly. And so that's the reason why I'm here today, is to actually show you that part as well. So anyway, I'm really blessed to have this ability in math. It's pretty funny because my younger son, my older son too, actually, he's a naval aviator. He was one of the youngest ever special forces researchers in naval history. He was a teenager, 13 days before he graduated. And there were 24, 25, 26-year-olds that were hard-ass Navy personnel that were dropping out at 195 to 200 ratio. And he was only one of 5 that graduated from second class. And so I'm pretty intense. You can imagine creating a deal like that. So anyway, just keep praying for the firefighters on the West Coast and in Canada and Australia and Spain, because they're talking stuff on fire. And they've been taught dog shit, excuse me, language. Okay, and it's really serious because I don't like using that profanity, but we have firefighters being burned in the name of Federal Reserve notes. And it's got to stop. Okay? It's one thing to be an armchair quarterback. It's another thing to have the remedy. And I had that remedy. So I'm going to give this, fire hydraulics calculator. It's worth about $500 a unit for free to the entire world. So anyway, thank you very much for your time.
All right, you have about a 15 or 20-minute break, and by then Emily will be here, and we'll hear our last speaker and wind it up for the day. Thank you.